Making a major impact, drenching our area with inches of rain.
It's the wettest day in 4 years. Flooding on the roads, down trees, and thousands left in the dark.
Debby has been a stubborn storm.
These new images just into our newsroom showing the gravity of the situation.
But the weather impact is not over yet.
Debby continues to weaken, but it's still raining. Coming up, I'll show you the rainfall records that are falling across the area.
Tonight, we have live team coverage across our counties, keeping you weather aware. I'm Vanessa Rufus.
And I'm Colin Mayfield. WCNC Charlotte News at 6 starts right now.
And the impacts of Debby reaching every corner of our area at this hour. You can see the radar lit up from the mountains down across the South Carolina state line. Everywhere is soaked.
And as we speak, tens of thousands are still in the dark this evening. Power outages are going to be a big problem as we head into the evening hours. And unfortunately, some drivers were a little too confident going through flooding on the roads. You can see this car, it got stuck along Hawthorne Lane in East Charlotte.
So on that note, we urge you, do not take that risk with water on the roadway. We start our team coverage tonight with Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. So Brad, tropical depression now, Debby, is what you're seeing?
Yeah, slowly lifting to the north. It's still raining just about everywhere. Even where you don't see green on the radar, we've got drizzle and mist. So the rain continues to fall. The only good news, it's lighter. It's not as heavy as it was earlier. There's still a pretty potent band back in the foothills that's dumping some heavy rain, but thankfully there's been less rain there, so the issues haven't been as bad. You see the circulation there, about 45 miles due east of Charlotte. That is where the center of tropical depression Debby is right now, moving to the north. So eventually this is all going to lift out, but the rain is going to continue into the evening. We told you today was going to be a washout, and sure enough, some of the rainfall totals, again, we said 4 to 7 inches. That's certainly verified. A few spots were in the 2 to 3 inch range, but look at the official numbers. At the airport, we're well over 4 inches. Same with Rock Hill, Lancaster. That is broken. We know we got more than that, but you get an idea of the widespread heavy rain that fell across the area. In fact, the 4.15 here in Charlotte, that is the wettest day since 2020, and that puts us in the top 20 wettest day all time. There's a chance we could break the top 10 as we continue to see rain, because we have to calculate that all the way through midnight tonight. And speaking of that midnight forecast, you see the scattered showers again, not as heavy as earlier, but it will rain right through tonight into tomorrow morning. There's some good news though. Better weather ahead for Friday and the weekend. We'll talk about that and maybe more activity in the tropics coming up.
All right, Brad, we will see you soon. We're going to continue our team coverage tonight, tracking those conditions across multiple counties tonight.
First up tonight, we have Mecklenburg County here. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre is joining us now from Steel Creek. So, Jesse, what are you seeing at this hour?
Well, at this hour, you know, we're here near Steel Creek, and this is Choate Circle off of Carowinds Boulevard. And really, the creeks have been the problem areas I've noted today with all of the heavy rain, a lot of them overflowing into or onto the roadway. So now Choate Circle was closed off for several hours, and just about 15 minutes ago, a police officer came down and took those roadblocks off, and you see them laid down to the side. Now, I spent most of the day going to different areas in Charlotte. The rain was much heavier earlier in the morning, but now so much lighter. But again, really the issues were really near the creeks. The rain coming down for most of the day in the Queen City. Over near Revolution Park in West Charlotte, a power line knocked down took power out in the area. The creek reaching its summit, overflowing onto Revolution Park Road there. Roadblock signs put on both sides. This is video of Bryant Neighborhood Park off West Moorhead Street. The park is completely flooded, and you can see the soccer goal nets in that water and how high the water has gotten. And then this mobile home park in West Charlotte. Is hard to miss the impact of Debby after hours of rain fell, leaving several homes surrounded by water. The National Guard was there to assist residents. Now I spoke to people across Charlotte who shared what they experienced during the storms.
Every time that it rains, it floods like this. We always get a notification that to not drive through there, not drive through the water. But this is by far the worst I've ever seen it. But it does this every time.
Normally this creek only has like 6 inches of water, and now it's like 8 feet of water. I noticed everything kind of comes to the creek. Yeah, we didn't see it a couple hours ago when it was probably flooding this road, but right now it's still pretty high. We see a lot of debris going down the river.
Now, like you mentioned earlier, Vanessa, I've seen several drivers, take their chance and go around those roadblocks and drive over those flooded roadways. And when you do this, you're putting yourself at risk, and you're also putting, emergency responders at risk if they have to come and rescue you. So if you do see those roadblocks, obey, turn around so you don't drown. We've heard that over and over again. Thankfully, things are getting much lighter here, and those roadblocks on Schultz Circle have been taken away. Back to you.
All right, Jesse, thank you for that report. And some school districts deciding to change plans because of the weather, try and get ahead of tomorrow. That is Stanley County and Rowan Salisbury schools canceling classes. Chesterfield is going remote, and Chester is running on a 2-hour delay. Well, that brings us to York County. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King joining us live from Sunset Park Elementary in Rock Hill. Anna, even in this storm, a lot of students, they went back to school today.
They did, and I spoke with parents earlier today, and they were concerned about the district's decision to keep schools open today, many calling the decision irresponsible and unsafe. Now, the rain here has subsided, but take a look at what things looks like out here earlier today. Just standing water that many students had to drive through, in addition to parents, buses, and people just trying to get to work. Multiple roads across the city were closed off, a major one being Dave Lau Boulevard. Traffic there was detoured for hours as officials waited for conditions there to be safe for drivers, and with multiple road closures and flooding, parents I spoke to were frustrated.
I'm out here waiting on my daughter now. Luckily, she's a walker, but it's still raining. So, yeah, it's a dangerous situation, man. They should have closed schools for the day.
I'm glad that my kids are little and are not on the roads driving. I would not, if my kids were driving, they would not be going to school. Yeah.
And in response to the parents, the district said, "We are immensely proud of our transportation team for getting our kids to school this morning safely with no major issues." Now, the district told us they consulted Perry Weather Service as well as local emergency officials on the superintendent's decision to keep the schools open. For now, here live in Rock Hill, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
Anna, thank you so much. Speaking of getting around, we can tell you the storm's having significant impacts at the airport. Right now, Charlotte Douglas is reporting 734 delays and 22 cancellations. This is for both arriving and departing flights. So if you do have to fly out over the next few days, just be prepared for a ripple effect from this and potentially long lines. As we speak, area waterways are swollen tonight with all of this rain. At this hour, meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees is keeping an eye on the Rocky River, joining us live from Stanley County. How's it looking out there, Brittany?
Well, the rain is still certainly coming down here. We're actually right on the border here between Stanley and Anson County, Vanessa. And this area here at Rocky River at the Norwood boat ramp is probably an area that many folks in the region are used to seeing, but not used to seeing it at this level. Notice as you look behind me how high the water is. So far, the water has stayed just below 30 feet, although it did peak a little bit earlier today. Just for some perspective here, that is almost double what it normally would be if you're heading out, let's say, on a weekend to get out and about. Now, another thing that I want you to notice, especially here, is how discolored the water looks. This happens a lot of time with flooding when we see gunk and things of that nature. As the rain starts to drain down areas, let's say further north, further northwest, it starts to really discolor the water. Why I'm pointing that out here is that we have no idea what's in this water. Anytime we see flood waters, we can see insects, lizards, snakes, even sometimes fire ants floating on top of the water. You can actually see some of that debris there. They find something to hang on to and they start floating downward. So it's just a good reminder here that not only do we have these high levels of flooded waters across the area, we of course don't want people out and about, not just driving, but taking boats out. We also do not want anybody to wade through flooded waters either. I did a story on this actually about a year or so ago about how you just don't know what's in it. It can be extremely, extremely dangerous. But again, we are expecting these waterways to continue to go down, as Brad has mentioned, that the rain chances are starting to go down. But at least for now, we're continuing to see light to moderate rain. I don't expect this river to go back into that major flood stage, but it'll probably stay at minor through at least today and most of tomorrow. For now, I'm live here at the Rocky River at Norwood, right on the edge of Stanley and Anson County. Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees for WCNC Charlotte.
And as always, if you see severe flooding or storm damage where you are, we want to see it. If it's safe to do so, snap a picture or maybe a video, send it to us using the Near Me feature inside our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Also, please be sure to include where those images are taken so it helps us and we can relay that information to everyone else.
Well, as you've seen just now, Debby making a big impact in a short amount of time. If your home is damaged in the storm, do you qualify for FEMA relief? Our Verify team goes over those guidelines next.
And one of the wettest days in this city's history continues. We've got light rain continuing to cross the area. You see the spin associated with Debby. Coming up, we're going to show you when the rain moves out and when we're going to see the sunny skies return.
And as we head to break, a look at the medal count. Team USA running away with it with 103 total medals. China in second with 73. France still in that third spot with 54. Great Britain and Australia. That's the top 5. Remember, WCNC Charlotte, your home for the Paris Games.
Look, in today's world,
Wow, there's a lot tonight in prime time on WCNC Charlotte. You don't want to miss anything. It's the springboard. The men compete for the gold in the 3-meter diving final, and from there, the starting line for a number of races, including the men's 200-meter men's final. There's a lot to talk about on that, but women's hurdles and the long jump. Then be sure to stick around with us for your late night newscast at 11. But right now, hundreds of FEMA staff and federal partners, they are in North and South Carolina as we speak, as well as Florida, to help people dealing with the impacts from Debby.
Now, these images we see here show only a glimpse of the aftermath. And if you have property damage like some of these folks are dealing with, you might be wondering if you'll get help from the federal government. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies who qualifies for FEMA assistance after severe weather.
Guys, FEMA is required by law to ensure all help is given to those affected by a major disaster. With that in mind, a major disaster must be declared before FEMA offers any financial assistance. This is a named storm, and both North and South Carolina governors have declared this as a state of emergency. So we're looking at who can get assistance. And for this, we went straight to FEMA to get those answers. Now, the first question is, if you are a renter, can you get FEMA assistance? The answer to this is yes. FEMA assistance is not just for homeowners. FEMA may also provide help to renters who lost personal property or were displaced. We are also looking at this claim. If you have insurance, FEMA won't help you. Now, this is actually false. According to FEMA's website, if you have insurance, you can still apply for FEMA assistance, but you must file an insurance claim as well. And FEMA can't help with expenses your insurance covers. And the final claim that we're looking at here today is if you receive a grant from FEMA, it has to be paid back. Now, FEMA says this is false, and in most cases, those grants do not have to be paid back. However, if you have insurance that covers temporary housing costs and FEMA gives you an advance on some money while your insurance is processing, you do need to pay that money back to FEMA. Guys.
Megan Bragg reporting. Thank you so much for that. We do want to check back in with Brad.
That's right, keeping us weather aware as we head into the nighttime hours here, Brad.
Yeah, it's still raining, guys. The intensity of the rain is less, but it's still coming down. In some cases, the radar not doing justice to the consistency of the rain, which is falling everywhere we look on our Mr. Sparky Carolina camera network. You see the rain, kind of a light to moderate rain out there. And again, even in between where you're seeing on the radar, you're seeing some drizzle. And that's often the case with tropical systems. It's usually raining a lot more than the radar is because the radar will kind of overshoot some of the rainfall, which is in the lowest level. So the futurecast shows the rain slowly beginning to move out. Once the winds shift around to the southwest later tonight, that will be a sign that the drier air is moving in and things will dry out as we go into tomorrow. Some of the rainfall totals we showed you: well over 4 inches in Charlotte, Wadesboro, Rock Hill, Gastonia, all locations over 4 inches. Salisbury a little bit less. Hickory, because you're on the west side, just seeing the rain here later in the day on just under 3 inches of rain. Now, the wettest days in Charlotte's history, Hurricane Danny's our all-time record back in 1997, 6.88. Today, we're over 4 inches and a quarter. We're about to knock on number 10 here. So 4 inches of rain or more in a calendar day, not very common. It's happened only 20 times. Now 21 times in recorded history, counting today. Our records go back to 1878. So the impacts for the rest of the evening: on again, off again, lingering showers, even a few downpours. Creeks and streams are going to stay high. That's not going to change. And then slow recovery from those power outages as we go through the next 12 to 24 hours. But drier weather for Friday. This is the good news. Sure, there'll be a pop-up shower in the afternoon and evening, but kind of your typical summer pattern here. The one concern I would have, if we see one of these pop-up storms over one of the flood-prone areas from today, we could see some additional flooding. So certainly something to keep an eye on. But at least for the next several days, the rain chances will stay pretty minimal, around 20%, but going into next week, the scattered shower and thunderstorm activity will start to go back up by the end of the week. Now, we could see another tropical system, not mainly impacting us, but developing in the tropics, and you're probably going, oh no, not again. But remember, we're in August now. August, September, October, the three peak months of the season. We're going to see a lot more of these. This isn't the end of the season. It's really just the beginning of what should be a very active season. So making weekend plans, we'll keep a 20% chance both days with an isolated scattered storm, but definitely hotter and more humid, with high temperatures getting back up close to 90 degrees. So tomorrow, temperatures will return back to those low 90s. Pretty hot day with those temperatures in the 90s. A really high dew point tomorrow with all the moisture on the ground. So expect it to feel even hotter than this. The feel-like readings will be over 100 with a 20% chance of rain. Hourly forecast tomorrow: a lot of sun in the middle of the day. Those rain chances really confined to the evening hours. And your 7-day forecast from Guy Roofing shows pretty nice weather through the weekend. And notice the rain chances going back up. And because of the increase in rain and clouds next week, we will see temperatures cooler in the low to mid 80s. So some time to dry out this weekend, guys, after we get the rain out here tonight.
It's great to hear, Brad. Appreciate that. And look, on days like today, it's crucial to stay weather aware. Make sure you download the free WCNC Charlotte mobile app. It'll send you severe weather alerts tailored to your location, so you know exactly when the conditions pick up where you are.
Still to come, the Carolina Panthers in action tonight. What Coach Dave Canales had to say about his NFL head coaching debut. Next in Sports.